Oh my fucking god, guys, this chapter was fucking amazing. Like, it was on a whole other level. I can't even describe it. Toga just wiped Lockrock out like he was an insect. Based on the screen time that we'd seen from Lockrock, I thought, that he was going to be really overpowered, not one for all kind of overpowered, but in terms of skill, and he may still have been, but against Toga that was just completely out of the window, because she just straight up slaughtered him in the blink of an eye. He did not know what he was going up against, and while it's true that we don't know if he's dead, he could simply be injured and from Toga's attack, but it took him out immediately. So it must have been a pretty sensitive area that she struck, and given that Toga actually specializes in being a cold-blooded murderer, she probably also knows where to hit the target in order to get things over with. So I'm going to assume that Lockrock did in fact kick the bucket in this chapter, unfortunately for him. But before we actually go to Toga in the first place, we of course saw how Lockrock and the others were fending off the guy who could manipulate walls and stuff like that. And against that guy, Lockrock's quirk was actually pretty effective, since he can lock anything in place with some limitations as it is described in the chapter, such as not being able to control too big of an area and various other things, but he can stop solid structures and living things, as far as the chapter actually explains it. And I mean, yeah, they pretty much managed to keep the division lead from actually doing anything extreme like crushing them, as that seemed to be his plan, to just grind them up like minced meat pretty much, by narrowing down the tunnels they were running through. And yeah, once he realized that he could no longer do that, he instead split up the group in two and let the cavalry deal with them. That cavalry of course being Toga and Twice. And Toga, as I just explained earlier, completely destroyed Lockrock. Like he was nothing more than a pest needing to be purged from her sight. It's not just that she took him out fast, but she made it look so fucking easy. There is just no way that Toga was even trying against him, because we saw how she pretty much came up from behind trying to blindside him, and even when he reacted to that by blocking her knife with his own hand, she quickly, through reflexes of immense speed, just got past his defenses yet again. And I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, Lockrock got absolutely owned by Toga. Even after that, she quickly got into character by taking on his form when Midoriya and Aizawa made it there, seeing the body of Lockrock on the ground with a severe knife wound while another Lockrock stands before them. And I mean, that in itself would put someone on high alert, especially given that I don't think they've known about this quirk until now, because the quirk was basically confirmed when Toga used it to become Kami, I think, which was much later than when they ran into Toga the first time. So seeing two Lockrocks would just instantly put both Midoriya and Aizawa on high alert. And I mean, as we know, Toga has a thing for Midoriya, right? And we just see how Toga makes a move on him right away, seemingly an aggressive move given how she was actually holding the knife high in the air. But it's really hard to tell when it comes to Midoriya. She seems to have a crush on him, which in itself is kind of disturbing. I mean, I hope she's not like too old for him. I mean, that would be like some fucking reverse lolly shit. And I mean, I guess that's cool, but yeah, anyway, back to their encounter. We see her very clearly express this attachment of hers towards him, and that is when Aizawa pretty much steps in to help out, because Toga is, despite her looks, extremely dangerous. And I think that became blindly obvious the moment she took out Lockrock, because she doesn't only use her quirk in order to fight. She has techniques that are fucking scary. Like, she can completely mask her presence the moment her opponent loses sight of her, and as we saw, she is extremely mobile. It took her no effort whatsoever to move around her target and kill it with ease. She even puts up a fight against Aizawa, and this is something that I expect will keep going on, because she didn't actually lose to Aizawa. He has knocked her away, and we see her suit lying around next to her, so no doubt the fight is going to continue, and this is going to be Toga versus Aizawa and Midoriya, I reckon, because I don't think Midoriya is just going to, stand around as Aizawa takes on someone as crazy as Toga. Aizawa's quirk is absolutely useless against Toga as well, now that he knows that she's there, because she's going to be utilizing that mobility and savage fighting style to its full potential, I reckon. And yes, it's true that Aizawa can physically restrain her, or at least try, but if you look really closely in this chapter at one point, Toga actually counters his bandage stuff like it's a walk in the park. She does not actually get a hit in on Aizawa that easily, but she actually evades fates getting wrapped up, which would result in her instant loss. Instead, she gave herself a fighting chance while Twice takes on some of the other people, including Night Eye, because of course, as we saw by the end, Night Eye and Twice stare each other in the eye while Twice has made a copy of Rappa, the bullet fist guy who was fighting Kirishima and Fat Gum. That's going to be a very interesting encounter if I'm being completely honest with you. Since Night Eye can, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't done any recent research on this, but he can read his opponent's moves, so no matter what it is, he will know just how to dodge the attacks in the best manner, as long as there's time and room for it, of course. I'm guessing that Twice himself isn't really that big of a threat, or at least he might not be. But if Night Eye somehow defeats Rappa without taking out Twice, I'm pretty sure that, you know, Twice could probably just create another copy of someone. Now, I don't really know exactly how Twice's quirk works, other than the fact that it creates copies of people somehow, be it through touch or something, I don't know. But yeah, what I really hope to see more of is actually Toga's aspect, and that is for very biased reasons, I'm not gonna lie. One thing that I would like to see, but I don't think it's gonna be next week, since it seems that we're getting Night Eye versus Twice at that time, but if Toga keeps fighting, I really want to see Toga's backstory, because that is just going to be something that is on the top of my wanna see list. I might actually make a video on that, given that her personality is so different from any other villains really. She's so fucking happy, yet kills without hesitation. You can't even predict what Toga's going to do, because she's honestly one of those people that's pretty fucking hard to read when it comes down to it. She could play around, or she could just go straight to business, and it would be fucking amazing to find out why Toga behaves the way she does, because no one becomes like her for no fucking reason, and Horikoshi has shown that most things in this story of My Hero Academia is backed by something. If people have a certain mindset, there is a very big reason for it, and I do not think Toga is any different. So yeah, I truly do hope that we get to see Toga's backstory sometime soon, even if it's not in this arc. I mean, we've had Kirishima's backstory already, so it would probably be a very backstory heavy arc if that was the case. Anyway, I think I'll be ending the video here. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and as always, if you did, please like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new to my channel. This has been your favorite host, Perm, and I'll see you soon.